did a webinar today. I've literally ran, it'd be hundreds of webinars, and never ever have I had this happen to me. The quicker that you can be cool with just randomly asking questions. Like the reason why I feel that I, without sounding fucking arrogant, but know so much about a lot of stuff is because I'm super curious. I'm always curious about it. Like if I've got a gap in my mental thought, I'm like, fuck, I need to fill that. Why do we do that? What's that for? Not even at the risk of sounding silly or dumb or that I think I should already know that, I'll just ask. And that's the power of being able to create your own processes as well, by seeing the process and then you actually writing the process, because as you write the process, it just cements that piece of the puzzle to you. From a learning perspective, as watching is huge, doing is even obviously better, but not doing for the first time. Like if you're sitting at the computer and I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna get you to do this, I'm just gonna step you through it. Okay, go click this, go do that. Like you've got no reference points. But when you go, cool, let's sit down, watch me do this thing in its entirety. I'll explain it as I go through. Next time we go to do it, you'll sit down and I won't go, okay, go and remember what you did. It was like, now I'll step you through because you've got reference points of, oh, that's right, he clicked that, that's right, he went there. Yeah. So that's where I think, the higher level of learning and actually taking in the information is key. So that's good. It never pays to rush it because no one's going to know if it took you 6 weeks to film those videos or if it, versus if it took you a week type thing. Because you don't have the ability to go, bang, camera, let's film this now. I fucked it up, or that video doesn't look good, let's do another one. It's like shooting a movie. They'll go through the whole movie, and I've heard it many times where they're like 6 months later, they're editing the movie back together and they're like, shit, we need a recall, we need to refilm that scene. It's like, wow, I bet you wish you had to cover that off when you bloody, did it. Mate, I spoke at so many events for free before I even had a product. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. And then when I had the product, you got people there waiting. The more you get out there, the more you're going to be seen, because you could go to that one event that dude just comes up to you at the end of it going, hey, I want to pay your highest level coaching. So never discount that, all right? Because I can see why, because, I had those similar mindsets going, well, I want to have something to sell at the end of it. But my best ever events I've ever spoken at are ones where I sold nothing, which is really weird. But it's the back end of that. Just let me know if you can currently see my screen. No, you can't see my screen. Okay, so we've got a few people who can't see my screen here. Anyone would think this was my first ever presentation. Not sure what we're doing here. Yes, you can see slide 2. Someone can see slide 2. Okay, this is interesting. If you've done any of these webinars before and this has ever happened. In fact, I've probably ran close to 300 webinars in my time, and I've never actually experienced the slides not loading up. I just want you to list the 3 biggest challenges that your clients currently face. Okay, if you don't know and you can't uncover the 3 biggest challenges your clients face, there's absolutely no way you're going to be able to start getting the results you want on Facebook. Yeah, you can go and put a few posts up, you might get a few videos that go viral, but that would be about the extent of it. Okay, so list the 3 biggest challenges your clients face.
What is going on here?
Mate, you're supposed to be a fly on the wall, mate. And fucking make this situation worse. I'm ready to give up the internet game. I'm going back to a cabinet maker. Definitely challenging me this week. Definitely challenging me. You of all people I know, and in the industry you're in, you can't really be too generalised with, it's like, actually, where's that come from? Like, is that actually a stat that 70% of people say this, or is it just a fucking number that someone's decided to because the last 6 people they've talked to, it felt like that? And one thing I don't leave up to chance is the guessing. I remove all emotion, because, you'd be like me, you'd speak to, dozens and dozens of different business owners, and it can feel like there's trends happening. But what you got to remember is there's one key element that's always the same in that trend: you. So if you're feeling SEO's on the, it's on the rise, then you're probably going to emanate that. So one thing I always like to do is try and keep a clean slate and go, well, right now, where are the big trends? What does really need to happen and how? Because there's also the long and the short plays that we need to look at. It comes back as well going, what's the end result? Because I mean, I could sit here and go, no, Facebook's way better advertising for that. But the reality is I'd only be saying to you, well, that's based off what I think, because I know what I can get here with that versus what you can get. And the only way you're ever going to know is by putting them up next to each other. But one thing I do know for certain is Facebook, everyone's hanging out there, and the thing is, if you just do a direct ad the same way you would on YouTube, it wouldn't on Google, it wouldn't work in Facebook. Facebook's a different game. It's like two different parties. Like Google there's a sign on a door that says we are a rock band party. Facebook, you just walk in, you don't know what the fuck you're getting, but you're going to go and have a great time. That's sort of the difference, and you need to approach each of those tools with that methodology going, well, you're walking through the Facebook door, you don't really know what you're getting, but when you're walking through the Google door, it has a sign there and you're walking into that party. At the moment, you can't go to Facebook and do really like a search, but they're building a search engine. They have been for a while. And now is why it's super important to be building brand awareness, audience, getting those pixels all working now, because the shit you could do with it is just game changing. Yeah, game changing. The reality of getting good conversions coming through this will be very slim if we're not able to educate them enough on what this actually is and why we are a preferred choice. There needs to be like what we call a bridging page that gives people the information they need to know about yoga and Pilates. Fuck man, this week's been crazy with regards to so many little small, I gotta get that done, gotta get that sent off, gotta do. Like this week's been the week of an executive assistant needed, So if you're looking for a job and you're out there, that's probably what I'd do for an executive assistant. Like before an executive assistant come on board, I think I'd say, look, you've really got to go and watch, at least the first 10 episodes of All or Nothing. And if you think you can handle me at the end of that, then we're probably going to be a good match. See, this is me. I'm looking for a person that does this. All right, that fits my needs. Not hold my hand. That's fucking, yeah, I'm looking for someone very highly organized, someone who loves detail. Let us know, you never know. You could be, if you're that person, you're that proactive person. I love proactive people. I love people who think on their feet. Actually, that's what I need. I need that person who thinks on their feet. They can handle chaos. They don't freak out. They got a very high level, a stress tolerance level. Definitely want that. I don't want you to have the house burning around me when I already have the house burning around me. I need to be able to give you my stress. You need to be able to handle that. No, I wouldn't do that to you. I got your back. I got your back. Molly Campbell, it is your husband Brett Campbell calling. Maybe you could call me back when you get this message. Thank you very much and have a fantastic rest of your day. This is on like 4 times speed.
Oh, great.
Like it's real fast, so you're gonna be like, I think I got it. Did a webinar today. I've literally ran, it'd be hundreds of webinars, and never ever have I had this happen to me. I went live and just the slides wouldn't show. So I'm using a software that admittedly I've only used probably a dozen times, but it's never happened to me before. But it just wasn't going on. So it was quite interesting to, I had a packed house on there and I seen people dropping off, obviously, at the start, because I was like, oh geez, 5 minutes in, still not getting it. There's only so many times you can say, yep, just one more thing, I'm just checking this last thing. So that was an interesting thing that happened today. Now you'll see this, we started to actually upload the entire daily vlog to our Facebook pages as well, instead of utilizing just our shorter trailer format, which again, we're still getting great feedback, but already had good feedback from yesterday's first post we put up, so that was cool. The great thing with that is we're tapping into obviously still another entire audience, even though you can watch the entire, depending where you're watching this, whether you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, we're now putting it in all places. Now the easy thing would have been at the start, and someone could always go, yeah, why don't you just put everything everywhere? Sometimes it just doesn't work like that when you start the strategy. So we're refining, we're tuning, fine-tuning. Looking forward to Friday, exciting day. Starts with an F. F for fun. Guess what else starts with F? Finish line. That's right, we've got the finish line on tomorrow. Boom. You didn't know where I was going with that, did you?
I did know.
No, you didn't. Don't lie. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Another day down. Keep trucking on.